Hello everybody, I am Josh and welcome to this Sims 4 house building video. Now today I am building a very large house. I think this is probably the biggest house I've ever made in the game. And yeah, so it took me about 7 hours to build, I think, in real time. So yeah, a very large house, and even the speed build, when it was sped up 7 times, was still so long that I had to split this into 2 parts. So this is part 1, and I'd really appreciate it if you'd check out part 2 after you finish watching this. So yeah, this house ends up being quite big, ends up having 5 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. Well, it actually is kind of 2 houses, because there's the main house and there's a small pool house. So the main house is 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, and the pool house is 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom. So I just kind of combine them together. But yeah, so this house ends up having really stunning landscaping too. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out, and yeah, so you'll see it unfold. So when I started it out, I ended up making it way too big, so I ended up actually making it smaller, and then I realized it was a little bit too small, so then I added some parts to it. So you'll see the shape kind of evolves as we go about it. But you can see here it's quite massive at this point, and I do make it a bit smaller. Also, I started out with making the ceiling height like the highest one possible, but then I kind of lowered it down because I felt like it was a little bit too much. So yeah, anyway, yeah, I'm really glad with the way this house turned out. It took me quite a while to build it because I started it and then I kind of left it for a while and came back to it. So, you know, I'm not really sure where the point is that I left it off at, but you know, it kind of left me some time to think about what I wanted to do with it. And you know, then I came back to it and then I started adding on a little bit here and there and refined it. So, you know, it was a long process of building for this house. Yeah, anyway, it ends up having quite a large wraparound porch, though it doesn't really wrap around because I add some parts to the house later that kind of cross over the porches, so it doesn't wrap around the house entirely, but there are still a lot of porches around this house, so plenty of outdoor space, and also there's a large pool, huge patio, so there's definitely plenty of outdoor space for your Sims. Yeah, this house is built on the largest lot in the game, which is a 50 by 50. For whatever reason in The Sims 4, they wonder why they didn't carry over the 64 by 64 lot sizes of The Sims 3. I don't know. Seems a bit weird why they only gave us 50 by 50, but I guess it's fine. So, yeah, anyway, as you can see, very tall columns here because I had the highest wall height, but I do change that, and I changed the way the house looks because I just felt like it looked too much like a castle or something. It didn't really have the look I wanted. I wanted it to look a little bit more cozy, and it didn't have that look, so I do make it a little bit lower and just like made the shape a little bit better, because at this point it was just looking way too massive. It just didn't look like a nice house. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure when I do that. I'm pretty sure I do it pretty much right away. Like I start resizing the house, and then I move on to the exterior colors, which end up being pretty nice. I'm really happy with the way the colors turned out. I mean, it's very simple. Yeah, so you can see we're putting in some roofs, plenty of porch roofing to do. I haven't even made it to the upper roof. Yeah, so I'm not sure when the point is when I think that it's too big, but on the top here, we do have a 3rd floor. It's not much of a 3rd floor, it's really just like an attic. But, you know, it kind of slots in under the roof on the top, so it's not too noticeable from the front, which is kind of nice. So, yeah, here's the upper roof coming in. You can see it kind of covers up the 3rd floor there, the house ends up having a flat roof, which I thought was kind of nice. It's something that I wanted because I thought, you know, I'm not really sure if that's a style of house where you have that roof that covers up the top floor with a flat roof on it. I forget. There's a name for it. I know there is. Because we had that roof type in The Sims 3 where it was like a hipped roof but with a flat top. I don't remember what it's called though, but The Sims 4 doesn't have that, so I kind of made it myself there. But yeah, I don't end up putting a roof on top, although I do here, but that does not stay, so yeah, so at this point, I was putting on all these roofs, and I was just looking at it, I'm like, this house looks way too massive. It just didn't really look that nice, in my opinion, so yeah, at this point, I start lowering it down, and yeah, at this point, it doesn't really look like the way it turns out, because, I don't know, it was just way too massive at this point. Because I wanted to build a big house, but not one this big. I think I went a little bit overboard at first. And then also I tried adding these extra parts to the turret things to add more detail, and that ended up looking hideous. So those did not stay. You'll see those definitely go away pretty quickly. It's just like a weird parts just sticking out of the turret. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking here. Yeah, you can see it's just huge. That's like all I can think right now is just how ginormous the house is. And then, yeah, I don't know. Oh, here we go. I'm actually making it smaller at this point. So you can see how much smaller I just made it there. And also I'm doing this weird thing with the turrets again, which I do change. But yeah, you can see it's quite a bit smaller now. I cut off a huge section from the back, and I'm moving the turrets closer together as well, which I'm pretty sure is the way the house stays. I'm pretty sure I don't end up stretching the back out anymore. So yeah, definitely making it quite a bit smaller here, and it gets a little messy as I do this, and for whatever reason I thought this turret thing was a good idea. You can see it's a really weird shape going on. Oop, I just got rid of everything, look at that. Yeah, so I ended up getting rid of a huge amount of the house here because I just was completely starting over with the shape. I think I made it a little bit too small, so I think later on maybe I do make it a little bit bigger. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, you can see these weird turret things are happening. I'm not even sure how to describe them. They just kind of have this weird shape to them. I don't know what I was thinking. I tried to make something interesting, but then I ended up getting rid of it because it just looks stupid. So there we go. We have normal shaped turrets now. They're back to this square shape. And yeah, the house is quite a bit more of a manageable size now, as you can see. And I do get rid of that gigantic back porch. So yeah, it's really quite a bit of a mess at this point. Yeah, oh jeez. Yeah, I think that the break that I took, but like when I was building this house, like that couple weeks that I took off, I think really helped me, because at this point I really did not know what I wanted to do, because you can obviously tell it's just kind of a mess. So you know, it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do with this house, because large houses are always quite a bit more challenging, because you know, you have to build a huge house and this whole style has to match. So you know, it's a little bit more challenging. I don't know, at least for me it is. Also have that funky shaped roof going on there. That does not stay. Like that top roof ends up being symmetrical. And yeah, so just slightly redoing the shape of this wing, I guess you could call it. I've never built a house in The Sims 4 with a wing, but you know, there you go. It's a wing to the house. And yeah, so I think they were kind of getting close to the final shape. Although I believe I do change it a little bit later after we start furnishing, but not really in a major way. So yeah, here I'm just putting the roof back on the top, and you can see it's a very weird shape right now. It's not symmetrical, which drove me nuts. So what I ended up doing was making it symmetrical, and also the roof is all glitching through the walls, which is really annoying, but I ended up fixing that. You see, I wish The Sims 4 was smarter. Like The Sims 3, when you put a roof on the level above, it just automatically cut out the roof underneath. With The Sims 4, it doesn't do that. It has to be a room for it to cut out the roof. So, I don't know. There's one little thing that's just very annoying. Yeah, you can see the top here is not symmetrical, which is really annoying. So I do end up changing that, I believe, at some point, because, you know, I wanted the top of the house to be symmetrical. But you can see here, I'm still hiding the third floor kind of under this roof. Not really hiding it, but, you know, it's kind of, the walls are made out of roofs, if that makes sense. Yeah, again, I forget what the style is, what that's called. You can tell me in the comments if you have any idea. But yeah, the turrets are back, and you can see here the porch is quite a bit smaller this time. And yeah, the house is quite a bit nicer at this point, because it's not giant and huge. Like, it was way too over the top before. Like, there's no way that you could ever fill it up with stuff, because it was just ridiculous. So it looks quite a bit nicer. You can see here I'm much nicer looking at this point. Quite a little bit less over the top, which I think was nice. So yeah, I think I have to do all the roofs over again here, so that's kind of a little annoying, but yeah, doing all the roofs over. And then eventually I think we get to move on to the colors, which I was talking about earlier, which end up being very nice and simple. A nice red and white color scheme, very elegant. Doing the same thing with the roof here, actually, over this section of the house. You can see it's got that same kind of flat roof thing going on. Yeah, I really like that look for like big houses. I think it really just suits the style of them. Yeah, so that's pretty much the roof finished, I think, which is took me quite a while to get to this point, but I think that's pretty much it. for the roof, except for the top there. I do make that symmetrical, and I was still adding a roof on there. Yeah, I don't know. That does not stay. That looks really stupid. Oh, I was really going for it, wasn't I? I was trying to put a roof on top, but yeah. Like I said, that all goes away, so yeah, I think for the most part, it's 99% there, which is pretty exciting. Oh, here we go. There we go. I'm finally making it symmetrical, which is exciting. And then, once I do this, then we're pretty much done with the roof. So, that's a good thing. Yeah, there you go. So, now I'm going to add this nice kind of edging to the top. I really wish The Sims 4 had a kind of nice... Well, actually, I built this before there were half walls, so... Actually, I could have used half walls up there now, but never mind. You know, so I was using these fences, and I do change that brick fence, but I got a couple of chimneys on the roof, which I think I changed as well, but, you know, I really like those large chimneys on the roof like that, like the dual chimneys. I thought it looked really neat. Also adding these small dormers to the sides there, just for some added detail, and changing the roof color. I really love scalloped roofs, like the one I'm putting on right now, especially on houses like of this style. It's kind of like an older style house, or like a very elegant house. I don't know, I really like that scalloped roof. It kind of adds some nice detail and texture to the roof. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Also, putting in some roof trim, and some, like, wall trim. I don't even know what that's called, like the trim that goes in between the levels. Probably it's just wall trim. Also, this was infuriating. The railings, or whatever, around the balcony, I kept auto-placing those posts. And, like, that's not where I wanted the post to go. I wanted the post to go where the columns were, because they were centered. But it kept thinking it was smarter than me and put those posts in such an annoying places. Look at that. Oh, God. I spent so long on this because I was so frustrated. The Sims 4, it has to stop thinking it's smarter than you are. It really does. Because it can really be annoying. So I ended up changing the fencing into one that doesn't actually auto-place posts. So... that ended up working quite a bit better. Still trying to find one that doesn't place posts automatically. As you can see, this one is being a nightmare as well. Oh gosh, it was just so annoying. I think I find one at some point. Yeah, that one there, which I'm just putting in right now. That one doesn't have posts that place automatically, so it worked quite a bit nicer. So that made me very happy. So yeah, with that calamity over, moving on to the exterior colors. So I don't use that brick color, which I just put on that front part. You can see I'm changing the fences on the roof, and also changing up the chimneys like I said I would. I went with some rather massive chimneys there, as you can see. They're very large, but I think it's pretty cool looking. You know, it makes it look like a much more powerful home, maybe. And yeah, going for this brick. I love the bricks in The Sims 4, because they have these nice gray and black and white kind of bricks that are not, like, so perfect. Like, you know, like a little bit more rustic looking. I don't know, I really like the look of them. So I use them on the lower parts of the turrets, and also around this part of the house here. And then I use some paneling on the upper parts, which you'll see. Just some nice white paneling, so it's kind of got this gray brick and some red siding and some white paneling on the outside, which all goes together really nicely. I love the look of it. Yeah, so I put brick all the way up the turrets originally, but it just looked too much, so I do change that out. Also looking for a nice color, so yeah, there we go. There's the red. I really love the red because it just added a really nice pop of color. You know, it just stood out a lot, especially because I kind of use it as an accent. You know, it just really stood out in those kind of nooks where I'm putting it in. I don't know, I thought it looked really classy. So there you go, putting in some nice red siding there. And you'll see the white paneling, there it is. So like some nice red, white, and gray color scheme, which is really elegant. I don't know, I really like it. And you can see you're making the upper parts of the house. Like the second floor parts are the white, and the lower level is the stone. I thought that looked pretty nice. Yeah, also putting in some horizontal parts as well. So yeah, that's pretty much the colors of the house done. That was pretty quick. And yeah, I was messing around with the roof a little bit more, but ended up leaving it. And now we're going to move on to some windows, which is exciting. So some nice large windows around the top of these turrets here. I'm pretty sure they're turrets. I don't know, maybe they're not really turrets. Let's call them towers. I'll call them towers because they're more like towers, not turrets, but whatever. Also some nice small windows there. I was gonna go with red shutters, but then, like, the windows don't, like, some windows have red shutters and some don't. which is like, why? Like, why do different windows have different shutter colors? It makes no sense. But all of the windows that have shutters have black ones, so I ended up using black shutters. I also put this little kind of balcony area here from the second floor that looks down over what will be the pool. So that's pretty nice, and you can see just doing that here. This will be a nice little balcony area on the top, so, you know, your Sims can walk out there, have a little look down over the backyard, you know, pretty fancy. Yeah, well, there's like a little glitch with that, though, like when you put a cutout in a roof, sometimes the door, as you can see, does not appear, like I'm struggling with right there. Sometimes it appears and sometimes it doesn't. When you go down a level, it shows up, so I don't know what's with that. It's just a weird thing, but, you know, whatever. Also, I changed out that door. There we go. I used these doors from, not those, I used the doors from Get to Work, those ones, because they're supposed to be shop doors, but they look like nice French doors, because The Sims 4 doesn't really have French doors that are like really nice, like ones that are kind of more of a colonial or I don't know, like old style. That's not a good description, but like, you know, more of a classic style. Like, they're all modern French doors, which is really annoying. There's not enough door variety in the game for like front doors and stuff. Like, I always have to use the same ones over and over. But whatever. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to add those in expansion packs and stuff packs and stuff. But yeah, so I added this sunken room in here, which I do change. I do leave a sunken area just because I thought it was pretty cool, but that whole room doesn't stay that way, so you'll see as that evolves. Also putting in some more windows, of course. Yeah, then I went to the second floor and realized it's a very weird shape and very small, so when I go to furnish the second floor, I do actually expand it a little bit, which you'll see probably in the second part, actually, since I do the upstairs in the second part. The way I do this house is kind of weird because I did the whole structure and like the whole first floor interior. Actually, not even the whole first floor interior. I think I did parts of the first floor interior, then I moved outside, then I went back inside, then I went back outside. I moved around all over the place with this house. Couldn't really make up my mind, I guess. Yeah, so you'll see that in the second part when I do that later. But anyway, this is going to be the dining room here, where these stairs are going into the sunken part. So there ends up being this small little sunken area that kind of is a hallway. I don't know, I thought it would be cool to incorporate kind of like a sunken floor in somewhere. So that's what I did. And so yeah, this is going to be one of the living rooms right here where that fireplace is. There ends up being two. So they're pretty small actually, but there's two of them, so I guess that makes up for it. And the kitchen is going to be, well, we just passed it, but it's going to be over there. And this part of the house ends up having the other living room and a study. So just trying to figure out where to put the second set of stairs. And yes, this house does have two sets of stairs. I think that's a first for me. And yeah, so this is the other wing of the house. So there'll be another bedroom upstairs on that part. And so yeah, adding in some more walls here. That's going to be the study there, and the living room will be next to it. So yeah, just raising up the windows a bit, and we're moving on to the pool. That's pretty exciting. So here's the pool. It's on an angle, which I thought was pretty cool. And the pool house goes to the right of the pool, which you'll see. I'm not sure when I put that in, but it should be pretty soon. Also putting some stairs and railings around the place. And yeah, I really like the angled pool because it kind of like is nestled in with the landscaping. Like, it's kind of like between the house, the hot tub, and the pool house, so you'll see that. It looks pretty cool. I'm really happy with the way the backyard turns out, especially with the landscaping. You'll see that probably in this part, maybe. I'm not sure. And yeah, finding a nice material to make the porch flooring out of. I think I just go with a dark wood at some point. Went through a whole bunch of things here, all these different stones and tiles and whatevers. There we go. There's the wood I use. And yeah, trying to fix that door. And now we're moving on to the pool house. Yeah, so here's where I put in the pool house. You can see it's very small. That's pretty much it right there. But there is a nice porch around it. I do manage to cram in a 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom into there. So, you know, if you have guests over, they can stay in the pool house or something like that. Do I move it back? It seems awfully close to the pool, actually. No, there's no way I leave it that close. Maybe I do. No, I don't. I don't know. It just looks really close to the pool. Yeah, that's a bit weird. But yeah, there you go. There's the pool house. I guess I do leave it that close to the pool. well, I guess it is quite literally a pool house since it's almost touching the pool. And you can see very small insides there, but you know, it looks pretty nice. I mean, it's a pretty decent pool house. Adding in some windows, and yeah, I think I'll leave it at this point for now, and then I come back and do that later. Also putting in some trees, just because, why not? And yeah, just some nice trees, which I probably move around later. Also, the nice fountain outside, a nice hexagonal or octagonal fountain, I'm not sure, I didn't get a close enough look at it. Also, putting in the pool here, well, I already put it in, but putting in some ladders and some lighting, and it's a nice little mosaic on the floor. And I was gonna put like a deck around it, but it didn't let me. So like you can't place floor tiles around a pool, which is really annoying, but I guess, you know, whatever. Putting in some brick here, which is gonna be the pool surround. I actually use the brick all over the place on the outside for pathways and stuff. And yeah, now we're moving on to the second floor here. This is where I realize when the bedrooms get really small, so you'll see in the second part I do expand those. But yeah. Like I said, the main house ends up having 4 bedrooms, so, you know, pretty decent. It looks like it should have more considering the size of the house from outside, but, you know, it's not that spacious inside. And yeah, so now I guess we're going to put in some doors, of course. Interior doors, very important. Just placing them all over the place here. And yeah, you Sims need to get from one room to the other, obviously. Yeah, there you go, some nice doors all over the place. And yeah, now we're going to move on to some furnishing, I think. That's going to be pretty exciting. So I think I'll start with the kitchen. Yep, here we go. So the kitchen does change quite a bit, because I do expand it quite a lot later on, but the main design stays pretty much the same. I also add a kind of greenhouse slash indoor garden area off of the kitchen, which you'll see looks pretty cool. Pretty happy with that. Putting in a fridge there, making it kind of look built into that cabinet, which I thought was a pretty neat idea. I really love those floor-to-ceiling, not really floor-to-ceiling, but like those really tall cabinets that you can get. I think they look really nice. Also putting in some cabinets there with some plates in it and something else in the other one, not sure what, but you know, it's just some nice detail there. And at this point you can see the kitchen is actually pretty small, but trust me, it gets quite a bit bigger later on. It becomes a very large kitchen actually. But, you know, the style pretty much remains the same, so it's a nice kind of cherry wood color, I think. I'm pretty sure that looks like a cherry. Maybe cherry's more reddish, you know, whatever. It's a nice wood color. I put some some brick in, which makes it kind of look a bit more rustic, I guess. I don't know. I thought it looked pretty nice. There goes some more cabinets. I think I get rid of those later, though, but, you know, some cabinets in there for now. Brick flooring. I also get some bricks on the walls, I believe, at some point. Adding in some small details around the place. You know, just making it look kind of lived in and cozy, which is always something I like to do. You know, get in little details around here. The only thing I always do with the details is I fill up all the kitchen counters with details, like your Sims probably don't have any place to cook. So I left some open counters, just to make sure, because that seems to be something I have trouble with. Yeah, so just adding in some more stuff around the place. This little nook here in the tower, I guess as I'll call it. I put some tables in, and I put these boxes and raise them up using move objects, but they keep resisting that, and they keep falling back to the floor, so I just left them kind of intersecting the table on the floor, so sorry about that, but I tried to get them to go up higher, but they just they didn't want to sit on the shelf, so yeah, that move objects cheat is so glitchy. It's really annoying. It's like the thing with moving objects up and down on the walls. It's just so glitchy. I mean, they don't stay there. Like, I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's kind of annoying. And sometimes they just disappear. So I guess that's even worse. But whatever. That's the kitchen done actually for at least at this point in time. Now we're moving on to the formal dining room, which I'm pretty sure does not change that much throughout the course of things, so you know, this is going to be the formal dining room. I was going to put a brick wall in, but decided that was a little bit too rustic. It wasn't very formal, so didn't do that. And there is a small breakfast room, I guess you'd call it. I don't know if I want to call it a breakfast room, but you know, a little breakfast nook if your Sims don't want to eat in the formal dining room. There's also some bar stools around the island in the kitchen, so you don't necessarily have to eat in the formal dining room, but you know, it's for formal occasions. and pretty elegant white and gray color scheme. Not too over the top here. So you can see there's some china cabinets, a nice architectural drawing on the wall there, a sculpture, just some nice flowers on the table, very nice elegant room. I do add a pop of red in with those plant pots, and the sculpture on the side table I make red too, just for a nice little pop of color. I do expand that wall, the back wall a little bit, so I can add a buffet table in, which you'll see a little bit later on. Also putting in a small sitting area, of course. It's got to be a luxurious room. You should expect nothing less. Also, this is the small sunken hallway thing. I don't know. I thought it was neat, so yeah, it's there. And also, it's not centered, as you can see, which I do change because it was very annoying. And also go with this very bold red wallpaper here, as you can see. That was kind of neat. That's going to be the wallpaper for the front living room, I guess. Maybe you could call it like a sitting room, but it's got a giant flat screen TV, so maybe not. But yeah, just adding in some small details here. I also add a library off of the front living room, so it kind of goes right off that part of the house, so you'll see that. I do that at the same time I add the kind of indoor garden area to the kitchen, so you'll see that when we get to it. Yeah, so there's the flat screen TV, just a giant flat screen TV. There's another one in the other living area too, so plenty of TVs in this house for your Sims to watch. Yeah, so you can see it's pretty small, but it's okay. I mean, it's kind of like a front room, but I should have maybe left room for a great room in this house, but I guess it's a bit too late for that. And yeah, so what was I doing there? Oh, I don't know. Just looking at the other part of the house, because why not? Also, there's a small piano room off of the front room, because, I love a piano in The Sims, because I like having my Sims play the piano. It's nice to listen to. It's also a good skill for them to build, so, you can see those boxes. See, they just move down. It's like, they don't stay there, so it's a little bit annoying, but, nevertheless, it's not a huge deal. And yeah, so there's the entrance. Pretty simple. I didn't want to make it too cluttered, so I left it very simple and elegant. And yeah, just putting in some wallpaper for this hallway here, down to the other living area. And yeah, so what am I doing here? I'm not really sure, because I jumped all over the place with this house. Okay, we're doing the breakfast nook. So yeah, the breakfast nook here is pretty much off the kitchen. Oh, here we go. I'm expanding some stuff. Yeah, here we go. So I expanded a little bit, and oh, there we go. So I'm adding in the what's going to be the library right there. So it's a nice extra room to the house for Sims who like to read. So yeah, I thought the house was looking a little bit too small, so I wanted to add some stuff off to the sides of it. So we got this nice library here, and there we go. So I'm just rearranging the interior a little bit, and I do make that kind of sunken area centered, because it was just really annoying the way it wasn't. So there we go. So as you can see here, I just centered it, so it looks quite a bit better. There we go. And you can see the dining room is expanded now, so I will add in a buffet. And yeah, so just pretty much trying to put everything back the way it was. And this is going to be the, I said a library. There we go. Why did that slip my mind? I don't know. That's going to be the library right here, so you can see pretty nice large room there. And then on the other side of the house, I add in the greenhouse area. So yeah, the kitchen's a bit bigger now, so I'm just kind of moving the island. I do expand the island later, because it should be nice and big. I also added a double range there, 2 ovens side by side, very fancy. Adding in some outdoor dining, which does change, actually. It doesn't stay that way. I don't leave it there. But yeah, I think at this point is when I add in the, yeah, there we go. So I'm adding in the kind of, I'm not sure how to describe it. It's like an indoor garden area / greenhouse type thing, I guess you could call it. But it's off the kitchen, so I guess if you grow your own garden stuff, you can grow your own food. That's the word. To grow your own food, you can grab it from that room and then cook it up in the kitchen or something. It's pretty neat. It's a pretty small room, but it's pretty nice. And there's a little deck kind of off to the side of it. So, some nice doors and windows all over the place. So plenty of light comes into this room. And yeah, I thought it was a pretty neat addition. Also adding a roof over it. So now the house is once again symmetrical. Well, it's symmetrical except for that wing that goes off to the right side, so, you know, it's for the most part it's symmetrical. So yeah, also bumping out the front here a little bit, so this room gets a little bit bigger. You know, I thought it was just a little bit too small considering the size of the house. I kind of overdid it at the beginning and then made it a little bit too small. Kind of overcorrected it a bit, but, you know, now it's pretty much the perfect size. So yeah, this is going to be the, I'm putting outdoor lighting. Okay, never mind. Also have to readjust all the roofs. Well, I actually have to readjust them later when I expand the second floor too, so that's fun. Also putting in some windows, added windows on these turrets, which I do get rid of later, I think. So those don't stay. Anyway, adding some more chimneys onto these side parts just to make it look kind of cool. And, oh, we're jumping outside here, of course, because why not? And we're doing the driveway and front pathway. So yeah, there's a driveway. There's also a car, although it's just a scaled up toy car. It's not a real car. So there you go. Oh, that's not it. That's pretty ugly. There you go. So there's a nice giant fake car there for your driveway. And here we go. So now we're doing what I thought we were going to do before. This is going to be the greenhouse room thing. So yeah, as you can see, it's a pretty decent sized room. I also add some nice lush plants in it. It looks pretty cool. Once I choose the flooring, of course. That took quite a bit of time. I don't know, it's like flicking through so many options until I chose a stone one. Also add some flower boxes on the outside of the windows for that room. I thought that was nice. I really love the flower boxes in this game. They just kind of add a nice touch to it, you know, like a nice added piece of detail to the outside of the house. Yeah, so here we go. So I'm putting in the flower beds kind of things. So, you know, some nice plants in here, just to kind of make it look like a greenhouse, I guess. I don't know. So there you go, some nice plants. Also a llama topiary. Yeah, there you go. That's nice. And also some plant pots there. I put some flowers by the front door, of course. And picking some wall art here, using those wood log things from, what was it from? A Perfect Patio stuff. So I kind of put them in that interesting pattern there on the wall. Adding some outdoor plants, another planting pot. So your Sims can plant stuff in those big dirt boxes, planting boxes. So, you know, if they want to get up their gardening skill, they can do that. Also some gnomes, of course. You need the gnomes in the garden. And yeah, wanted to put that ship on top of that fireplace there, but that got rid of it. The game got rid of it. Later, it just disappeared. Typical, but you know. Expanding the kitchen again, as you can see, a nice larger island here. And some artwork on the wall there. You know, so the kitchen, as you can see, is quite a bit bigger than it was before. But, you know, that's nice. You should have a nice big kitchen if you got a house this large. And yeah, also the dining room area here. Adding in the buffet table, or counter, I guess. But there you go. You got a nice little counter there, so you can serve food there, I guess, if you're having a party or something. So, not in The Sims. In the real life, you would do that. I don't think you can serve food in The Sims, really. I guess you can. Yeah, you can. You can serve food and, like, put the platters on that buffet table. So, you know, that's pretty neat. Yeah, adding in some columns here, just because I have these stone, or rather brick accents there around that sunken area, so putting in some columns to break the brick up from the paneling. And yeah, adding a rug here, you know, just a nice bit of detail. Gotta have a runner. I'm gonna finish furnishing the breakfast nook, which I never finished for whatever reason. So adding in a rug and some artwork and some plants and making it look nice and cozy, like a little, you know, added area. Also putting in some a coat rack and some shoes in the mirror there in that hallway off the entrance. So it's kind of like where you'd hang up your coat and put your shoes when you walk in, so you don't like have a cluttered entranceway, you know. And yeah, adding a nice plant in the corner there. Gotta have your corner plant. And yeah, I just put the flooring in for the library, and we're gonna begin in the library actually right now. Yeah, the library turns out really nicely. I really like the way this room looks in the end. It's kind of like a nice, bright, open room. You know, it's a big room, light colors, like a nice light blue and white color scheme, and you know, plenty of bookshelves. So if your Sims like to read, you know, this is the perfect room for them. There's also going to be a study too, with a lot more bookshelves as well. So this house definitely has plenty of bookshelves. No bookshelf shortages here. So you can see there we got these nice couches. and some nice leather chairs there by the entrance, so you can definitely sit back and relax with a book or something. And yeah, putting in some side tables here. Plenty of tables in this room. I also find these really cool coffee tables that look like chests that I put around the room too. You'll see that they look pretty nice. I really like those. I never knew they existed. I never knew they existed until this house, so I thought that was pretty cool. I also put a two statues there by the door. One is in armor, and one is like a knight in armor, and the other's a ballerina. Kind of a weird combination, but I thought it worked. So, you know, adding in some lighting here, some nice chandeliers, and yeah. So we're pretty much done with this part of the video. So finishing up this room here, and then part 2 will be for you to watch. That was a weird way to say it, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed this part. There'll be an annotation right after this for you to click to head over to part 2, so I hope you do that, because, you know, part 2 is pretty exciting. And yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you're enjoying this build so far. Anyway, see you next time. Bye, everyone!